Hello, everyone, and welcome to People with Passion. It's also called a midlife reinvention. Wow, a lot of the people that I talked to had made some major changes in their life. And Linda and I, we go back quite a ways. We both joined a women's group back in Chicago, where we lived. And it's kind of funny because we both ended up in Tennessee in the same area. Linda moved down there and we had a family home down there. So we've been able to continue to see each other, even though we're in two different states. So Linda, welcome. And thank you for joining me. Let's start with your story that led you to where you are now and your work as a hypnotist and a Reiki master.
Great. Thank you, Karen. I'm so thrilled to be here. You know, pardon me, swallowed wrong. I need a sip.
Oh, I love your cup. Let me see your cup. Hold that up a second. I'm not perfect, but I am. That's pretty much the same.
One of my hypnosis students gave this to me and I love it. So a shout out to Heather. So it's very sweet of her. You know, I believe that God is always in ridiculous. And ridiculous has really come into my life at perfect times. I did not start out to be a Reiki master or a hypnotist or what have you. I was in corporate. Actually, I was partners in an executive search firm and did a number of other things. And I got into energy work due to a very old injury I had, and I wound up at a conference in Dallas, Texas, and a woman there who said she was a healer in California got me up and out of a wheelchair. I didn't even believe it. How ridiculous. And it was all kinds of serendipity that that woman and I were there at exactly the same time, and what transpired. And that led me to something else and led me to get very interested in energy work. I was the most skeptical person on the face of the earth. And however, that's kind of convincing. So at any rate, I studied under a number of Reiki masters and became a Reiki master, and now 4 different styles. It's kind of addicting. And it's been just over 30 years. I've been a Reiki master teacher. At some point, about 14, 15 years ago, there was a holistic center that was being opened in the area, and the owners came to me. I knew they would. Okay, I used to teach at a local college and all of this stuff, and they came to me to let me know about their holistic center. And they said, Linda, we'd love for you to be our hypnotist. And I said, I don't do hypnosis. You know, I'm a Reiki master. They're like, yeah, we know, but we really want to offer hypnosis. The job is yours as a hypnotist. That's ridiculous. So I went, let me go study to become a hypnotist. And that's how I got into hypnosis. There was a point in time where I was in direct sales, and I joined a company in direct sales because the motivational speaker, Les Brown, called my house.
Les Brown called you?
I just have to tell this story. This is how serendipity and ridiculous goes. I was on the phone with a friend of mine from Washington State who I'd worked in direct sales with before, and she was calling, telling me about this new company, and they were looking at me to perhaps be one of the original founders of it. And someone kept beeping in on the other line. This is back before cell phones, and we had actually phones in our house. And I said, hang on a second, let me see who this is. And I click over, And there's this man, and he says, let me talk to Travis, my 10-year-old son. I go, who is this? He goes, never mind, just put him on the phone. I go, look, buddy. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, it's Les Brown. I go, hang on. I click over to my friend Barbara and I go, I'm gonna call you back. Les Brown's on the other line. She goes, what? So
Oh, I love that story. It's
So I click over.
wonderful.
He talks to my son, Travis. I understand you're a huge fan. Next time I'm in Chicago, you and your mother get front row seats, and I'm sending you a copy of my newest DVD. That's pretty amazing. And you might be wondering, how did Les Brown just call me out of the blue? Well, my friend Mary Elizabeth was at the National Speakers Convention at a booth of a woman named Sandy. And Les Brown came up to her booth, Sandy's booth. My friend Mary Elizabeth knows Travis was crazy about Les Brown, especially when he was a little kid. He used to stand on our hearth and say, I am blessed and highly favored. I'm going to live my dreams. It was adorable. And he said, hey, could you please autograph this? Because this little kid just adores you. And Les Brown said, let me call him. We're not to the ridiculous part yet. Sandy's booth, the woman who had that booth, is the one who had introduced me to the woman I was on the phone to in Washington State when Les Brown called. And so when people ask for signs from God, oftentimes those signs come in ridiculous ways. God is always in ridiculous because that's what catches your attention. So whenever I see something going, well, that's just crazy, silly, ridiculous, I get so excited. I consider that a God message. So I'd love to say that's why my life is all ridiculous. Isn't that great?
I love that. I love how you said that that's the way that God gets our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like sending us these signs that make us wake up and pay attention. Like, oh,
exactly. Because if it was,
how did that happen?
Yes, exactly. So I got into hypnosis and I just fell in love with it. I'm really all about assisting others to find the answers within themselves. I believe
Love that.
we know everything there is to know. When you have that aha, that's just a remembering. It's the same aha as if you go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I went on, a roller coaster at that. Oh, yeah, it's the same thing as remembering something. Because all the knowledge of the universe is within us. It's a matter of remembering it. So I help people, I assist people in going in and connecting with universal knowledge, connecting with their own healing, and having that unfold for them. So, same thing.
I love that. And I love how you explained it, because so many people, when they think of hypnotists, they think of stage, shows. But they don't often associate it with their own healing, their own growth, their own spirituality, their own knowing. And a lot of that happens during a session with you. I have had a session with you, and still to this day, I remember from that session. So it is powerful.
Yes, thank you. And there's a difference between stage hypnosis, which is mostly for entertainment, and therapeutic hypnosis or clinical hypnosis. Now, a lot of stage hypnotists don't have a background. A few do, but they don't have a background in clinical and therapeutic. So Of course, everyone asks, oh, if you're gonna, if I do hypnosis, are you gonna make me bark like a dog? And I go, well, only if everything goes well. No, of course, we're not gonna do that. If you notice, they don't even do that on the stage, so it's fine. But we have
And for the
certain.
record, I did not bark like a
You
dog.
did not bark like a dog, no. And so what happens, we all have certain triggers. If you are, let's say, if you smoke, when you put your key in the ignition and turn it on and put the gear, a lot of times you just automatically reach for a cigarette. There's certain things that you just automatically do that's in your subconscious mind. And there's some habits that you may do, some thoughts. And so what we do is interrupt that pattern, introduce a new, healthier pattern. And I don't demonize people and their habits or anything like that. I always look at things as serving and unserving. Okay. So if most people know about kinesiology and muscle testing, if something's good for you or your highest good, you'll test strong. If it isn't, you'll test weak. For instance, every cell phone will make everyone test weak. They're not that good for us. And if I gave you a glass of orange juice and had you hold that, you'd probably test strong. And then you would drink that glass of orange juice and then 4 other glasses of orange juice. And I would put another glass of orange juice in front of you and you would test weak. Did orange juice turn evil? No. Was orange juice holy to begin with? No. It's just at one point it was serving, and then at another point, that's enough orange juice. It's no longer serving. So a lot of times with habits come into being because they're serving, they help you cope, whatever that case may be. And then there's a tipping point where they're no longer serving. So, but we're so deep into it, it's difficult to think of something else that would be serving. So what we do is kind of do a shortcut to let that one go, bring something else in that's rather serving. I work with a lot of folks that experience anxiety. Oftentimes, what I see, because of the energy work as well, is that their chakra systems are totally shut down and they're running off of adrenaline and caffeine. So the fact that you're running off adrenaline means that you're looking around all the time, looking for the bear or the lion. Okay, there must be some. I've got this adrenaline going. There must be something, some danger somewhere, and so you just have this anxiety, this level of anxiety. If you can put your chakra system back in order, so you're getting that energy. And your adrenaline is over here behind the glass break in case of emergency, then that alone will help with the anxiety.
And that's huge, because so many of us, especially with COVID, that really led to a lot of anxiety levels that were higher than we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people may not realize how valuable your work can be in terms of energy and pattern interrupts, changing lives.
And reframing.
And
So often, I do so much work with frequency. We are energy, we're energy beings. And when you make choices, because we get free will, so cool. When you make choices to raise your frequency and vibration, then things are a little easier. When you make choices that lower your frequency and vibration, things are a little bit more challenging. And the fact that we can make a choice in any given moment, you can actually change the whole trajectory of your life. And one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite sayings is, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You're always going to chop wood and carry water, but you can look at it so much differently. You can have joy in chopping wood and peace in carrying that water. And so that's really, what I like to do is help people tap in to their own peace and tap into their joy. Release everything that is no longer serving. Tap into the things that are serving and the things that give your life meaning, to have gratitude and appreciation. This is an amazing earth walk that you get to do, and you might as well enjoy it, as opposed to thinking of the drudgery of all of it. You might as well connect with your passion within, which of course is what you do so well, assisting others do that, Karen. Connect with that passion and then allow that to spread in your world. I can't control a lot of things. However, I can control how I react to things and how I choose to live my life. And I choose to live my life in joy. And I'm very, very blessed. And I believe in counting our blessings. When we count our blessings, we get more blessings. When you count your issues and worries, you get more issues and problems and worries. So just that small change of counting blessings, doing a gratitude journal, that type of thing will allow more of the same to come into your life. If you notice, whatever you focus on expands. Everyone's had this experience where you buy a new car, it could be new to you, and you're like, I drive a wonderful kiwi green Ford Escape. It's like no other color, right? And I bought it used. I went into work, drove in the parking lot, and I said, girls, come here, take a look at this. This is my new car. It's the coolest color. You'll never see anything like it. And as we're peeking through the blinds, except for that other one exactly like it, that just pulled in the parking lot. What are the chances?
It happens all the time. That's one of the experiments in the book, E2, is to pick out a color of a car, and in 24 hours, you will start seeing that show up. I picked lime green, and I did not see another lime green car. And then the next morning, which was almost 24 hours later, we pulled up into the airport, and there was a van with lime green lettering. So I told my husband, I said, honey, I don't think that counts because it's really still a white van. Lo and behold, I arrived in Florida, got in my rental car, and I'm driving to the Barefoot Center. And guess what I see? A lime green truck next to a lime green car. And I took a picture of it. I sent it to my husband and I said, okay, now I believe.
So Karen, that happens to us all the time, not today, but a lot of times I have a whole series of pictures whenever we're together having a good time. We have on the same colors. We have, if it's a blue pattern, if I got a blue pattern, you have a blue pattern. And just recently, we went out to lunch. We did not have the same color on, but you wore a shirt that I own. And
yeah,
so it's amazing.
By the time we're just energetically connected. So funny.
And it does happen all the time. And I think that's because we're kind of on the same wavelength. Yeah. And on that same frequency and wavelength, then all of a sudden things start going the
kind
same
like
frequency.
Yeah, I know that wavelength. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd love that for the title of that painting, Frequency.
Ooh, frequency, I love it. It
Yeah,
shall be. It shall be.
We were talking about the painting.
My favorite You brought
Yeah.
up my favorite word, passion. Brought up my
Yes.
favorite word, passion. So let me ask you about that word. When you think of the word passion, what does it mean to you, and how do you define it?
Passion to me is what lights up your heart, what lights up your soul. And I've always had a passion for people. When I was a kid, I was such a weird kid. It's hard to believe it's true. When I was like 13, 14 years old, I used to go collect people and bring them home to my mother. God bless my mother. Yes, I brought home a couple bikers, like motorcycle bikers. I brought home a painter and his Malamute. I brought home 2 firemen. I brought home a couple Mormons, missionaries. I would go out in the world and meet people, go, you seem really interesting. Come to my house, meet my mother. And it was really just because I found people so fascinating and so interesting. And I really believe that every person you meet is placed into your life for a reason. And there's something you can learn from them. There's something that they're an expert at, even if they're an expert at being annoying. Isn't that, how in the world could you possibly be that annoying to everyone around you? That's really pretty fascinating, isn't it?
It is,
So
because then you learn
then
what
you learn.
you don't like, because the annoying people have come into your life. They brought a lesson for
Yes.
you that you're like, oh, I'm going to respond to this differently because this annoying person
Exactly.
is in my life.
And imagine if you could have a slight interaction with an annoying person, because you may not want them in your life, but when an annoying person comes into your life, imagine if you have practiced enough that you can respond to them with love, as opposed to anger or, looking down on them, or, punching them in the nose, whatever. But imagine if you could just stand with such strength as to respond to them with love. What you'll find is, as you raise your vibration and raise your frequency, and this is all about holistic and all about healing, what you'll find is that you will attract those amazing people to you as well.
It's so true.
And
as you vibrate, you attract.
And I think I may have mentioned this story to you before, but many, many years ago, when my children were in preschool, I was in a group of mom support group. It was anything but that. If you didn't show up to the group, they're going to rip you to shreds. And it was very gossipy and awful and terrible. And, I'm a talker. This is way before I was into any of the more enlightening things. And I gossiped as well. And until one day I went, this just doesn't feel right. And I think I'm going to stop. So for anyone out there who gossip, I'm going to this is the easiest bad habit I ever quit. So I was at my mom's support group. We were out to dinner, and I shared with them, you can do what you're going to do, but I have decided for myself that I want to stop gossiping. So please do me a favor. If you catch me gossiping, please call me on it. You have my permission to go, hey, weren't you not going to gossip? And please don't tell me any gossip. Isn't this great? No supply, no demand. I'm not in the loop. I don't know anything going on. And who am I going to tell it to, even if I did, because I just said I wasn't going to do that. And they said, oh, okay, Linda, we'll support you in that. And I got up to go to the bathroom. 1, 2, before I got to the 3rd step, I heard, who does she think she is? I'm like, I can still hear you. And so I went to the bathroom, and as I was sitting down, contemplating, I thought to myself, my friends suck. I need better friends because my friends suck. And my next thought was, and so do I. Because this is the level of people I was associating with because I was on that level. If you look around and say, oh, every single one of my friends are a jerk,
It's a reflection of
what does that say about you?
Yeah.
And so I made that decision. Wait a minute, I'm going to have to up my game and not be this kind of person anymore. And as I do that, and as I did that, guess what? I have fabulous people in my life. And well, you're an example, Karen. Look how fabulous you are. I have fabulous people in my life, and I deserve them, and they deserve me.
And it's
So
so much better because when you vibrate with people who at a higher level, you don't have the stress. You don't have the struggles. You don't have the backstabbing or mistrust. It is not there at that
right.
level because you are authentically you and they authentically respect who you are and see who you are.
Because they authentically respect themselves.
Yeah.
And so you have people, I have people in my life that just carry their pom-poms around because we're going to cheer each other. We're going to go, oh, that's fabulous. Good for you. I'm so excited for you. There's not the jealous, petty silliness that is so unnecessary. And
when you are energetically in your own lane, you are not affected by somebody else's path. And that's why it's so easy for you to cheer on other people because you recognize that they are on the path that's right for them. And you are on the path that's right for you. And that makes it so easy to celebrate other people's success.
I love what you just said, Karen, because when you're energetically on your path, then whatever's happening on the outside has so little effect on you.
Right. Exactly.
And so I love when sometimes when people say, well, what do you do? I go, I get to witness miracles. I don't perform them, but I do get to witness them. And especially, I work a lot of times, most of my clients are women. Besides the Reiki and the hypnosis, I also integrate that into being an intuitive strategist for women business owners. I work with a lot of women to help remove those prosperity blockages. A lot of times women are out there making money, but they can't keep the money. And there's a prosperity blockage, or they're almost there. They're almost there. And so we work together to release that so that they can experience all the prosperity and blessings and abundance that the universe has to offer them.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So wrapping up, what is a very profound life lesson that you have learned in the 30 years of working with people? What piece of wisdom can you leave us with as we wrap up this interview?
Everyone can be healed. Perhaps not cured, but everyone can heal. And to heal is to become whole. And it's always possible. And I've worked with people that are just starting out, my age range is probably 14 to, 72. There's a whole range of things, but whether you're just starting out or you're finishing up and transitioning, even in life, there's things that can happen that you can heal and you can release, and you can be very lighthearted and enjoy life, enjoy others, appreciate everything, all the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. And once you do that, you can then appreciate all the blessings bestowed on others and just live a more joyful life and not be stuck in patterns that bring you anything less than that.
That was beautiful. I love how
Oh,
you said
thank you.
that you can be healed, maybe not cured, but healed.
Healed.
And that is just beautiful, beautiful way to end this. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Karen. It's always a pleasure.
And if you want to connect with Linda, the link is below. Reach out and connect with Linda. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
This. Okay.